gorgeous view of Kingston from up here. 17 years ago, Monday, January 7, 2002, it was my birthday, and I stepped into the classroom for the very first time. Now, it's Monday, January 7, 2019, and I'm not in the classroom. Where am I? And I'm not on leave either, but we'll talk about that in a little while. Perfect weather for a perfect day, for a perfect experience. Today is my birthday and I am so elated to be having this experience in particular on my birthday. I stepped away from my 9 to 5 a few months ago, totally by faith. I will get to that in a little bit. But I just wanted to share some of my experiences thus far. First of all, I started working at age 16, straight out of high school. I worked for about 5 years, and afterwards I moved from that job to another job for about a few months, then another job for about 2 years. Eventually, I decided to go back to school to upgrade myself, and I went to MICO and got my diploma in education after 3 years. So, as of 2002, 7th of January, 17 years ago, I stepped into the classroom for the very first time. I was hoping that today would have been the 17th year that I would be able to say, yes, I've been here, but you know, things and times change. But I've always wanted to be a teacher ever since I was a child, and I had that dream fulfilled. And my job was an excellent one. It was a great one. I loved the classroom, loved, you know, just sharing with children and watching them blossom, loved cultivating the relationships that I would have had with my students and the parents as we went along. But as I said, things and times changed, and I realized it began getting a lot more difficult just to cope with the classroom setting, and with this generation in particular, they're very difficult to deal with. I enjoyed my job for a while, but as the years went on, a lot of challenges developed. One of the things that I found that I had a major challenge with was my health. I was accustomed to being a fairly active, healthy person. I realized I put on a lot of weight, and as a result of putting on a lot of weight, with that would come high blood pressure and other things like that. With that would also come bouts of depression because you're not used to looking like this. And I'm coming from a lifestyle where I would either be swimming or hiking or riding or doing something physical. I couldn't do that being on the job 9 to 5. Not only that, I realized that the job in and of itself, for those of you out there who are teachers, you know that teaching is not easy. You know that especially in this day and age, it is a real challenge to deal with the students in the classroom. And that became a problem. I rose up in the ranks in terms of becoming a senior teacher, so I was now a grade supervisor and, you know, getting things done and being on top of my game and all of that. But I realized that I felt like a hamster running on a wheel. But the health issues, I want to come back to that. We have to get to a point in life where our health becomes more important than anything else. Because at the end of the day, if you're not healthy, you can't even work. So when you're going to work yourself to the bone and sacrifice your health, and then at the end of the day, you're asked to take medical leave or retire early, and that same job that you would have worked so hard to secure, because of your health, it's gone, when that is a job that took your health. And so my health I was in my late 30s, early 40s, really began to take a toll. As I said before, seriously overweight. I'm on a weight loss journey. I will document that another time. Mentally, I was facing bouts of depression. I remember, I want to share this one health challenge that I had. I remember one day, maybe about 2-3 years ago, I was in the classroom, in a class, grading books. And you know that 8 out of 10 equals 80%. To my surprise, I was grading the child's book and I wrote 8 out of 10 equals 37%. And I looked at it and I knew that it was rubbish, but it's like my brain could not process what the real thing was supposed to be. And then my hand went numb. The hand I had the pen in went numb. The pen fell from my fingers. And I put my hand on the desk and I could not feel my hand. And I realized, okay, Bev, something is off here. I just asked the student to take the books to the staff room, and I went to the staff room and I sat. And that gave me a real reality check. But that was about 2-3 years ago. But last school year, September 17 into 18, that was a real challenge for me, health-wise. And there were days when I would wake up and as soon as I entered the premises, I felt ill. As soon as I left, I felt better. So those were all indicators to me that something had to give, and it was not going to be me. So one of the main reasons I had to step away from my 9-to-5 was because of my health. Sometimes you have to take your health in check. Have you ever heard of the straw that broke the camel's back? Or sometimes you have a jug of water or a glass of water. I used to do it as a child, where I'd fill it up and then I would watch drop by drop by drop to see which drop would cause it to run over. And then, it ran over. I had my last drop or my last straw that broke my back, or that last drop that ran over. And that happened sometime in the last school year, as I said before. And I had to decide that, Bev, if you stay in this environment, if you stay in this 9-to-5, regardless of the kind of 9-to-5, if you stay in the 9-to-5 existence, you're going to die an early death. So I had to make the decision to move. I didn't, you have some gurus who will say to you, well, if you're going to retire early, you need to have at least 1 year's salary saved up so that you can live and pay your bills and all of that. I didn't have that. I didn't have anything more than my last paycheck when I resigned my job in August of 2018. Didn't have any money saved up. Had a bank loan of over $250,000. Other little loans and other little expenses and things floating around here and there that I would need to take care of. But I had to leave, and it's something that I prayed about even before I made the decision. I prayed long and hard about it. I know some persons who know that I am not in a 9-to-5 wonder how, and maybe want to find the way or the courage to make the same move. First thing you have to do is pray about it. And I made the decision that, okay, I am going to have to leave this existence. And I tell you something, once your mind is made up that this is the route you're going to go, you will feel as if 50% of the burden has lifted from your shoulders. Once my mind was made up that I had to step away, I was at peace, I felt at ease. It was now just a matter of going through the whole process, because I will tell you this, up to the very morning I handed in my resignation, I was still a bit nervous, because it would now be the first time, apart from when I went to study for my diploma and when I started my degree and had to stop it partway because of health issues, I realized would be the first time since I was 16 years old that I would not know what I'm going to be doing in terms of a 9 to 5 or in terms of getting an income. The first time since I was 16 years old. That is a nerve-wracking thing, and I'm now 44 today. That is a nerve-wracking experience in and of itself. But the moment I decided and made the decision that I was going to step away from a 9 to 5, I was at peace with the decision. Didn't know how bills were going to be paid. Didn't know how obligations in terms of my debts were going to be fulfilled. Didn't know anything. And didn't worry about it either, because once the Lord says, this is what you are to do, I've got it, trust that He has it. What is the real purpose of this documentary? It's not just to talk about my leaving a 9 to 5, but it's to encourage others out there who are contemplating the same thing I did, to actually let you know that it is possible. I know that a lot of persons out there have done what I am doing in terms of leaving the 9 to 5 existence and spoken about it. And so my voice being added to that community is just further encouragement for those of you who are contemplating it. So I left my job after 16 years in the profession, senior teacher and all of those things. I left my job. And I will tell you this much as I was a senior teacher, my salary could barely cover my debts and my monthly obligations. If I had 15,000 left to take me through the month, I had a lot. As much as I was a senior teacher. So you can imagine the regular classroom teacher. But the Lord has been taking care of me, and to make a move like this, you cannot do it without the Lord. The Lord has been taking care of me. I've not forfeited on my bills once. My rent is covered. My insurance policies are covered. My bills are paid. And I'm not talking about because I have a husband to pay it for me, but out of my pocket, all of these expenses that I usually covered are covered. Testimony, that bank loan that I had of over $250,000 lies. It was almost $500,000. Out of the blue, someone offered to clear it for me with no strings attached, no obligations on my part. So that debt is cleared. Just like that. There's a vehicle that I have been wanting for the past 2+ years, and it's expensive, so it was just a little pipe dream. That vehicle I will be getting my hands on in a few weeks' time. No expense on my part. And I'm getting it from a source I didn't even know that I have wanted this particular vehicle for a long time. Opportunities in terms of financial opportunities have come my way, where persons say, do this for me or do that for me, and I get paid for it, just like that. The biggest takeaway from walking away from a 9 to 5 though is being you, having time for you, having time to walk into your purpose. I have always wanted to do so many things that I know I'm gifted at, things that I know that I have a purpose to do, and now I have time to do it. So I have time to actually write, I have time to actually craft, I have time to actually do things like this. Because if I was on the job, I'd have to be on the job right now. When you walk away from a 9 to 5, one of the biggest takeaways is that you're able to walk into your purpose. And so my encouragement to anyone contemplating it, I've wanted to do it for a while, but the timing had to be right according to Father's will. Line it up with Father. So you see, once Father says go, make the step. Even if you don't have a penny in the bank, which I did not. Even if you don't know where your next bill is going to be coming from in terms of the payment. Even if you don't see your way through. You can't. Faith walk don't mean you're going to see everything. A faith walk is just you take a step by faith, knowing that when you step, you're stepping on solid ground. So I don't have to see the entire path to know that once the Lord says, step here, that's where I need to step. And I just really want to encourage anybody. It's a beautiful feeling. I'm on my birthday. It's a working day. And I am free. And I'm just doing me. I've always wanted to come up here for my birthday, but my birthday always falls on some awkward dates and places. I'm free. And I'm happy. I don't have everything that I want, but I have just what I need. And I'm a very simple person, easy to please. So, you know, in a nutshell, that's about it. Walking away from a 9 to 5 is one of the best things I've done thus far in my life. And I encourage you to do the same.